drudgery, or whatever you'd call yours, elves to be, or not to beehive. This session's nectar to honey sweetening our landings of milk, to butterfly, the rest. For Tallowax to Tallowane, Circadian awareness, flit to wickedries in Talloween of conscientious consciousnesses here. For clarity, no background music accompanying this reading. Sorry, not so wry, as this is for clarity through respect of options for repurposing mutual celebration. Not an untangle of mission exchange. Be sure you take that straight, or on the rocks, chasers, for our sense of hell here doesn't pay, it only feeds. As for us, it's heaven's everlasting light that may at times have us seeking shade from its revelries. We'll be working at our flips of switch as social magnetics polarize on the go here in favor of the whole merging, the half-hearted eschewed by repulsion from inclusiveness, and or being bound in chain of exclusivity on lock when and where we may afford, save lucrative soul for when and if our well runs dry, for how we may run on empty by distancing homage from us through to its bittersweet forget about it. And so, to further our polite plight, you may invest yours, elves, carefully in any way, shape, or formulae of lucrative soul, yielding freedom from the pain in any discipline would otherwise have you suffering from, and yours truly, as busser to reset tables for our next overturn of joys to bliss, from that which we, of us, may banquet. There may be those of us who go beyond ingredient for count and recipes of delusion, as intuition all in for extrasensory perceptions beyond nothing that may temper or our double-edged swords in clashes of discernment, that we may keep sharpened by regrets in cutting dead branches from the trees, prying truths from roots of what we may let lie. This reading is all about your choices, to accept within your sacred or otherwise. Be that as you may know your right to exhibit abrupt boundaries from drawing on that line in the sand that could be perceived in quote of no, yes, and or as a you may come and you may go. This is up in your coat of arms to be open or closed about as a reminder not to untangle as a monotonous given over any circumstance you may otherwise worthy of be. Just a healthy little reminder, okay? Another reminder, escapades are just a finger swipe away with ectoplasm's intermission on pause, or for timelines a motion to jump for that runaway train, however so bound for glory. Whatever you do it in love no matter what, always and forever, forgiving our gratitude with your thanks. Maybe this next remark will mark yours truly as a damnable target, or forgive a measure of respectable natures from you to me, as from me to you, or one to more of our peers who'd know. Were there any other way to find out? At some point, I was informed, as was a newborn with a section of placenta as a caul discovered smothering my face. The doctor had to carefully peel away using a wire brush so I could avoid starvations for intake of the marginally deprived first breath this vessel has requiring at the time. I was also told other weird inscriptions encrypting Naria code to decipher ciphers, like when one of my great aunties held me for the first time. There was such a great deal of static that formed instantly between us that she had to place me on the wall next to her, where I stuck like a balloon asphyxed in static cling until the maelstrom subsided and I fell at peace back into her arms moments later. Antibody's guess who would be more enlightening than my own here. Anywho's, enough about what I've been told about my earlier self that I choose other than to believe, or not as meaningless to entangle, ergo ego's sakes here. What follows may have been inspired by a mysterious peer from within the mid-range of Saturn's moon ago, of a Sun-turned moon ago in Saturnian calculus. Wonder if they might guess who they were. Pause for a deep breather, as not to entangle this at all shallow of our breath's worth. Twiddling thumbs. I'll wait. So to be on about tossing a monkey wrench in these spun to spinning gears as sprocket of their seriousness, a smidgen of humors can bring us about face to face with that obliviously happy olfactory wealth of flour. Hey, can I show y'all to a magical discard trick? Psych! Maybe we'll Pele, kicking 52 card pickups on our owns a bit later on, beyond squats, lifts of weight control, and exercise our powers to defy gravities in choice of regimen in portfolio. What do you say? Wanda want a little bouquet of magic words through assists of magician sticks and stones may be my bones, save words and phrases are what everyone is really made of. And if memory serves us otherwise, praise any leeway for a thespian's tryout for part in a rewritten script to nuance alternative memory recognition patternizations. Psst, psst. Try and secret this from the current of conglomerating AI models as long as possible. It's okay to entrust my intuition on with this word for word, though in ultimatum, of course, consequence or otherwise, that choice, however it may be made, is yours. A world may require from our sum of number an additive of soul sorcering enhancers and geo-entrancers, so be it this coveting as a taste of coax towards aligning with those savoring these seductions. If in you are pleased, to please remember, we love ourselves through and through, each other here to there, and there to here, an echo would lend us, happier than glib. To head any from toppling from herd over cliff, if you are now performing any activity that requires your indivisible attentions, such as driving a car, vehicle, take a keening from our inner Bo-Peep to turn away from this reading's performance and return later when such a risk would, other than pose you, Riding Hood, nor I to wolf down. Now that those of us who remain are freed from any pending responsible contingency of accountability for the forgiveness we have hereby been grateful for, we now drift from that tributary through confluence and into the mainstream of this reading's riddles to puzzle over till the mystery's out to sea, where the mouth of this reading's river kisses ocean for its various ways of resolving. And so, weaving upon our ongoing stories and kinship from Coco Pelli in Stepping with Johnny Appleseed, hear from you to me as a mirror through our prisms. We follow the Jed inactive pendulum with our craniums stationary and unmoving, moving only our eyes, vaguely if at all, save following the Jed's movement peripherally, above relaxed, gently, ever slow, slightly lowered eyelids from our imagination's ion fair, abandoning any overly abundant slake of astral smoke fogging up in our inner vision ahead of space and time for place to pinnacle through our experimental grace in flux with circumstantial happenstance. Pining the crossroads of aether within our spiraling webs, rippling of interconnecting sonar, driven by the hammering throng pounding from the vortexual drum through our heart's anvil, supported by the bellows of our dragon, on Pegasus amidst wings fueling our fortress's hearth, burning from bright to smolderings, at dim low, beyond twilight of dusk, to our dawn's rekindling. Okay, now, we want you to be yours elf, as if we are you looking at ours elf in a mirror. So to make sure you are ready to be safely assured of your consent, for our intent is we enter this conscious sublimation conscientiously through and out of session's end for our new beginnings to shine on after the horizon. And those remaining with us, with what is of us, we want to imagine a small globule of ectoplasm forming around your left index finger, forefinger, as we do with our right. Got it? Okay, good. Now we're going to slowly reach up and deposit that globule of ectoplasm with a touch onto the butt of our nose, where it may be absorbed into our conundrum's unified scalar field parameters via a kind of quantum entanglement in kindred with latent subtle energies dancing to and from the umbras of our respective feyires. And now, as this dissolves into reverse osmosis of our respective field boundaries, however so, we are comfortable with forgetting about it for the time being, as we move on with a comfortable reassurance that knowledge is on shelf, for when wisdom yields, for it is there accessible to us, any time a remembering calls on it for navigations towards our comfort's content, when readied, so we may bypass the next query with an ease of knowing any response is enough, for it may go unanswered and or into the unknown beyond, where we can preserve whatever works best for our individuations by the session's end, as said, for our new beginnings. Ready to get ready? Get set. Here we go! So mind your what's and what's it's now? XYZ PDQ, a refreshing methodology of cartography at the mapping for the navigation wheel of the transitory walk that changes around a fashion-fixed glamour of access to core that can be preserved for further rearrangement, save the instigating map key participles on ball of bearings other than greases for change, except what may be unlocked after combinations of tumblers adjust to our map's remint of key. This core revolting reliquary may endure being a temporal eye within the forecast of the transitory walk through the maelstrom we may alter in the aftermaths of each, or a number through which we run as colloquial labyrinths, bridging to and from the changeable maze of one or more songlines sung echo over echo, and through each to another ant-eye hill, where X has been marked for spot on navigations as digits may be dug along the mutable chorus, on with the transitory walkabout, that may possibly be jogged or run to and from if one or more is out from, or for a more aerobic cardio, headquartered around fallen tower or towers bridging maze to labyrinth home to our castle. This may be an ongoing experiment in absolving energies that would otherwise tend to bubble up to the surface that hand us landing pads amidst experiential gaseousnesses swamped of circumstance as such as ball lightning rearranging stone at night on the deserted barren plain. We may, as might otherwise, rather than flit our fancies to endure flaring up, prior to winking awareness out through ripplebacks on reawakenings in our wakes on the lake of circadian consciousnesses, though any sum beyond zero may be forecast of frequency on wave of vibrations, substrates of sound and light codes have recourse with ciphers magnetized subtleties of freed fire apparently kindled through portals as fallen branches of quantum collapse hourglass to gravities as piezo-electrified ley lines may be doused with applicabilities measurable in crystallized gridworks honing in on clocking fractal lethargies for lack of substrate root trunk to canopy. Within these transitory walks, we're pretty much matching up with our own predestinies in motherboard's cupboard circuitry, so to speak, dance and sing as active relays of random interplay memory, RIM scavengers that may stray now and again from alignments and or realignments with the rivering of gridwork that fuels the fayires towards abundant natural trails of fluidities for lucrative souls' paths through least resistance, gaining quality of life in the midst of decay, yielding for growth, and vice versa. The rearrangeable nodes of this core may be the base demonstrables of the Mobius that may be quantified head-on by equational variations of octagonal planes that may have witnesses locked gaze for gaze with a platinum golden-eyed long-legged spider within a bubble of time slowed to seeming frozen with one's octahedron and or our 67-degree octagram of octolarity at plus or minus a degree with any other archetypical platonically aligned variances juxtaposition to pose as one or more may care to encrypt for hope beyond doubt through any adverse pain or gain of regret to pride, such as quantum leaps beyond nesting statics to and from one or more interior nests within and or without the various layers of our transcendentally curing auras. For without priding our regrets silently or otherwise, where would we be? Left of right, front and centered? Yes, and XYZ PDQ. And so, as you have been, you are free to go now, on with your explorations of listens for feels. There is an ambiance, one or more is capable in ensconcing themselves in, that allows their embodiment to acquire a deeply rejuvenative, restful recuperation of inspirations that one has found exceedingly challenging to be found accessible anywhere else. For this acquisition, a body may meditate these actions prior to yielding to awarenesses, slips to leaps and bounds through awakenings. Kind of similar to a wind-up toy preset for releasing the dream to run in the background of sleep forecast to be weathered naturally reawakens one for another's wind-up nexus. Pause for another deep breather as not to untangle this at all shallow of our breath's nesting's worth. Twiddling thumbs. I'll wait. If in this call for open arms came across to any you out there as at the foot of a loss or misstep of appetite for what hungers may accrue end game, comment, like, share, and subscribe to another's algorithm, and or none at all, save no, we'd love to have you. And now I'm over begging beginning to be, or not to be untangled free of these myths of disciplined glyphs put to legend, as I'm hereby at my coal's end burnout, and ash to leaven any bread you'd bake of it. For this would-be drag-on to Pegasus, a unicycle has reached its phoenix and been fed to bird. Home who, ahu, I am Nama Akashawa. Au revoir, au revoir.